Good morning, everybody. Got our charts up there. And the Dow, I'm eyeballing that on the monthly chart and put things, scrunched them up a little bit, but that looks like it's cleared that, it's cleared that prior pivot high on the monthly chart. We've got a wide range bar breaking out there. And the question opens up, can it push up to the old high? It's got a big base. We'll see. And this is the cash Dow. Now that we've got this, right, our factory work, half the bar, give or take, stay in the upper half. Do not go down to the bottom of the wide range bar, by no means. If it does, well, the ability to go higher kind of evaporates. Could be a breakout failure. You can see the breakout that we talked about. This was up at resistance. It went sideways for a few days. And yesterday's comments, I said, what's it waiting for? It's got to get moving soon. And it moved with a vengeance. It was mostly that news on Microsoft and then UNH, two high-priced stocks moving significantly, and other things moved a bit, but big move. Wide range bar, stay in the upper half. Today, after a wide range bar, most times comes a narrow range bar. Keep things in mind, two things, right? So in this particular market environment, are we into a situation where there's going to be a blow off, right? Where we could accelerate higher into the end of the week, maybe. But historically, typically you get a narrow range bar, a resting day after a wide range bar, and you can see the concept of creating a void in a wide range bar. Multiple bars moving higher. You can see it on a 15-minute chart. Creates the void. It's got a little pivot there down below. So one of the concepts is wide range bars are power bars, which is followed by they're the weakest link in the chart. And you say, well, how could something so powerful be the weakest link? Well, in theory, it's not that it, let me back up to say this properly. It's the weakest link because there's no support. So the power now has to create support, which is what it did here intraday when it pulled back there around 11:30. And then it moved back up again. And now it needs to clear the high or just chop around here. So once it creates support, this is one pivot on this one time frame, but we get the same thing on the 5. Maybe it retests it and it forms a little base, and that produces a launching pad potentially where it could push higher. So notice it's also at a big whole number, 35,000. So that comes into play. The weakest link part is the void below, meaning you have the majority saying this thing's going to go higher. Let's jump on board. Don't wait for pullbacks. Forget the idea of it may base or whatever. Just pay up. And so now with all of those, buyers on the way up, if it doesn't do as I suggested, staying, in the upper half, give or take, and notice the upper half lines up with this little congestion area right there, these overlapping bars. And that's that little space right there, which would be a little reference point. And so, if you're looking at this or the diamonds or the futures, this should be, that's around 10 o'clock, that little congestion area there. So let's take a look. Okay. Let's just take a look at, what's my diamonds? Here we go. I'll get to the other things. So they've been up a little bit. There's your wide range bar. There's this little congestion there, which lines up at around 340, 348 or so. If you want to mark that off on the Dow or an alert, if it pulls back there, that's where buyers should want to show up. It's eyeballing that about a 50% retracement, but if it's really bullish, it'll just go sideways up there. And, just drag up the alert, see if it pulls back. And I'm just going to look at the futures, saying the same thing. So they didn't clear the prior pivot high. I would assume that maybe that back there from whenever that was last year, maybe it was intraday, but there's some congestion up there. So far, so good. Wide bar backing off a little bit this morning. Not a big deal. And what we got here? So yesterday, it was like, okay, this thing's going nowhere. It's really important that it doesn't break down below that, and momentum needs to pick up. And it did. So now it's extended the move. It's getting a little extended from the 20 MA. Your minor support is still here. But now that you've got a range expansion bar, this is a point where if long, it doesn't matter what it is, little consolidation range expansion bar, let's assume you're long from here or wherever, it shouldn't violate this bar's low on a short-term basis. So you bring your stop. And what's behind that range expansion bar are 3 bars consolidating sideways. So it's a very important reference point for prices to stay above, and any pullbacks into the wide range bar ideally will hold in the upper half of this wide range bar. And it should be able to get right to this 460 area, maybe by the end of the week. So prices are about unchanged, give or take. You could see there. All right. S&P futures. Here we go. And same story. There's the consolidation. There's the range expansion bar. There's some resistance there. And stay above here for sure. Possibly just a resting day. 4,600 is lurking up above, 10 points higher. And S&Ps, can't relate it exactly to that, but let me see. I just want to see something here. Open interest, the biggest open interest, building up at 4,500 and 4,550 calls, 4,560, and there's some at 4,600. So bullishness increasing, and well, this is by the end of the week. Some puts increasing too at 4,550. Anyway, the trend is up. It's jiggling around. Whatever news is going to come that might move things throughout the week. Buyers are in control, and just keep this, 4,600 number in mind as a whole number. The Dow is stuck there, and at 35,000. And Jake being a little more conservative. I've got 45.85, but if prices move up, you want to be close to that 4,600 number. That's a pretty good distance away from the close. And down below 45.95, he's got, how are you going to get below that? 45.95. Yeah, below there. Hold on. Yeah. 45.20. I got 45.20. I pushed it a little bit lower, but or a quarter. You got to see what the premium is. How things jiggle around first thing in the morning. But look, you do not want to see this going anywhere near today's low in it, because it's not supposed to, and historically it doesn't. It doesn't. So this should, while it's relatively close, it should be a safe level down below. Buyers should continue to want to step up here in anticipation of this potentially tagging 4,600 by the end of the week. So some choppiness unless it just keeps going. I see Goldman Sachs and US Bancorp had a little negative comments and they were down. So it was interesting yesterday that, the financials kind of were quiet pre-market and then they just exploded higher and things moved up. And then of course, Microsoft and US healthcare moved things significantly. There was a lot of stuff that wasn't moving very much as I went through a lot of thumbnails, but overall, obviously, it was a good day. IQs, a little less of range expansion. They're kind of grinding their way up there, but created a void. 400, maybe by the end of the week, kind of a little blow off kind of situation. Coming up near that prior high, we'll see where they at. Gapping up a little bit, not too much. So relatively quiet this morning. Makes sense. And we'll see if things get going right at the open. And same story. Definitely you stay above yesterday's low. And ideally, so this little shelf right there, those two bars, pullbacks, right? What was resistance becomes support. You got the little void there. Pulling back into here, buyers should want to step up and, those little cluster of pivots right there, you mark them off on your charts, just put them there. You don't want it to go down there. So whatever you're trading, and even here, whatever you're trading, if you're not paying attention to this, set an alert. All right. Transports join the party with the Dow theory, yada, yada, bull market, uptrend, mark off your major support, the low prior to the higher high. Set an alert there. And continue to go higher. This me in S&P futures, is that a bear sandwich in the 1 hour time frame? Yes. Well, I'm not sure exactly. I guess if you're talking about here, yeah, I would say so. So it is like a continuation pattern. This was overnight trading. It was really quiet. So what's a bear sandwich? I'm saying, well, you get a range expansion bar and then a down one and then an up one. And most of the time they just continue higher from there. The most powerful ones are going to be ones in which, it's the beginning of a move, and I wouldn't call that a bear sandwich, or it's a breakdown failure, whereas this was just going sideways like that. But look, when you see a range expansion red bar and it flips right back up again, clearly buyers are in control, and big red bars are supposed to be ignored in a bullish trend, and obviously that was. All right. Russell pushing up toward those pivot highs. There's your continuation pattern, range expansion yesterday, and coming off of a dip here this morning, a little minor one there. So buyers stepping up on little dips and pushing it up. Wide range bar, and it was that blast off first thing in the morning where the regional banks, pushed higher as they did. And so financials did well. Same story, yesterday's low, stay in the middle of the bar. We looked at, here's your NASDAQ inside day so far, bullish price action coming up to resistance, everything coming up to this high. So, maybe, can you imagine it pushes up? Remember that there's another concept greater than 100% retracement. Once that happens, momentum is going to stall. And we'll see if this has the legs to keep pushing and create kind of a blow off pattern here. And I'm not forgetting that we got this alert of be careful, risk is growing. And I mentioned that this could lead sometimes by days or even up sometimes a couple of weeks. And that's what's happening. And this keeps going, more and more bullish sets up a scenario for correction, which it is coming. And this price action is setting up something where it's going to be probably choppy for a bunch of time, where it's going to come in. And who knows why it would come in significantly. But when you get a price void and it grows, the potential to get a deeper retracement it is there. It is what it is. Right. All right. Interest rates aren't doing very much of anything. And you can see they're down here on support. So they're holding this area. They move down a little bit. They're on top of support. Gold, moving up into resistance, wide range part yesterday. And, silver probably going to, I imagine it's going to keep going. There's no pattern here. There's just certain things, not certain things, a lot of things. It's like all of a sudden things go from, brain damage kind of trading, things are going nowhere. And all of a sudden it's like the world woke up and things explode. Like yesterday morning, the Russell and the Dow just kaboom, lift off, no pullbacks, no congestion, no nothing, unless you're going down to, the 20-second chart, things just blasting to the upside. And Bitcoin, not doing anything here. And, crude oil holding up pretty well. So notice this breakdown, and it's working its way back up into the base. We'll be talking about this next week to see if this forms, a downside shakeout, which would suggest prices are going to move up. And that's where, you get a little bit more of this inflation concerns if oil starts moving up like that. So expectations for today, historically, most of the times it's going to be a resting day. And we'll see what does move. Or does things keep just pushing higher into the end of this week? We'll see. All yours, Dan. What is sense, Greg? Have you been surprised by the market strength? Is it the last two sessions you mentioned possible? Right. So the key word is possible corrective price action. And, I just reiterated what I said. This was last Thursday morning that this got to this level. And I said it rarely ever marks the high day. So just because this got to a warning sign didn't mean sell. And that's exactly what's happening. I've seen maybe once or twice over the last 30 years where this has marked the high day, but it rarely ever does. This just tells you that, look, as good as things are moving and things are working out, whatever trades you're in and all that, keep your glee in check, because at some point things are going to turn. So that was it.
Glee in check.
Dan.
Good morning. Yeah, Robert likes it too. I mean, we're 100% bullish on our three letters, our open trades. So we are taking advantage of this strength very nicely. But we've been doing a lot of talk about, with the extended markets, what type of patterns that I like to trade. And we spent a lot of time talking, and for me, it's closer to support, not extended from the 20. And we've been finding plenty of those. So even though I'm not going to trade the spiders or the Qs because the daily is up multiple bars far from the 20, we're in no shortage of beautiful trades. So STZ was actually one we entered yesterday as a 1, 2, 3, and my alarm went off when I was doing the nightly video. And I just sent an alarm saying just sell it. It's a big gap. We sold it about right here, 261 and change last night. But that's a gapper. There was some news about on the board and trying to cooperate with the one of the hedge fund guys. All right, let's start with earnings as we always do. Oh, air here. This is one we did give subscribers. So look, we did the 55s way down here by the 50 MA, and it's gapping up. And so I'm just bidding a nickel to get out. And then we make 90, we sold them for 50. So then we make 90% of max value. Other earnings, OMC, that's an ugly gap, very ugly. So that turns all this into resistance. So we'll see what that looks like. All right, Raul, Intel currently long. Yeah, we're in Intel also. Yep. Yeah, it's a 1, 2, 3. Looks good. We're in it as a core long. The weekly is not pretty, but the monthly is. And at least we have a 180 reversal here and downside shakeout. So I gave AMD yesterday, talking about Intel, as a put spread over these highs, and my alarm just went off. So it's blasting through our trigger. Now we have beautiful open trades. I've had a couple alarms go off, all favorable. Crowd here, we have a put spread. Snow, we have a put spread. That's gapping up nicely. I raised the stop. Intuit, we have a core long. Look, we entered this core long here, you all. On this inside day, we entered a core long, breakout daily, weekly, monthly. Actually, Greg, this will be a fantastic example for today's MT Live. Today we're talking about, the reality. All right, look how much the skews and spiders are up. What do I do to make money? Do I just jump on board here and go into hope mode to stop under yesterday's low, or can you find me better patterns? The answer is the latter. You better darn believe I'm going to find you better patterns. And this is exhibit A right here. So yeah, let's show them this Intel, or Intuit rather. Yeah, we're in Bravo Lima. I typed in the green room here earlier. A couple of trades we're already in that are nice 1, 2, 3s. Yep, that's one of them. Not Q's. GGG. We're in that one, and then I forget what the third one was. JB Hunt. I would have bought that yesterday, but for earnings, it's a buy setup with bottoming tail. So now earnings are up. If there's any premium, that could be a put spread idea. Under yesterday's low, interactive broker down 82.50. That's a call spread idea. If there's any juice, of course, and they're liquid, you got to go through the checklist. Yeah, regional banks ripped yesterday. We were eyeing NYCB as a new swing. It's opening flat, but yeah, let's keep that on our list. Put it in another chart. Wall, another regional bank, gapping down. Keep an eye on it. HWC, no pattern. UCBI, I don't see any volume, so I don't trust the minder. Folt, 13.25, right up here at these prior highs. We can find better. There's our air. Asmil, 742, range bound, nothing to do, but bullish weekly, monthly. Goldman down a little, but not much at all. So look, just 334 area right there. Okay, so that's adequate as long as it holds here. Because then it's going to be a 1, 2, 3. And it's bullish weekly, monthly. So let's keep an eye on Goldman. I'll put it here. Goldman for a put spread idea for Friday. Today's Wednesday, so we got 2 more days. We got Powerhouse, Netflix, and Tesla tonight after the bell earnings. Look at that crazy bar. And then it was gapping up again. This thing's up over 30 bucks now in 24 hours. Microsoft just rip roaring yesterday. Look at that. Crazy strength. All right, ELV 475. Gap's too big, but bullish as can be. USB slopping around. We'll come back to it. That's an example that with the internals cooked. I just don't like swinging things as a general rule far from the 20, particularly when I can find you so many better ones. Here's another example. Look, this thing's run from 31 to 35, far from the 20. It's earnings gapping down, so nothing to do. Same Halliburton index. Sloppy pattern, put spread idea. MTB, regional banks had a good run. That's actually a beautiful buy setup pre-market. Look, that's clean. That's gapping up. Fluid move down, potent reversal, minor support in the 20. That could shape up to be a day trade. Carvana. I don't know if it was earnings or just a guidance or whatever, but look at this crazy gap up. We traded it on this breakout right here. We had a beautiful 4-day trade. And this just must be causing some horrendous short squeezing, because this thing had a high short interest. People thought it was going to zero. They also did some negotiations with their bondholders. CFG, top of the range, nothing to do. Northern Trust. This got whacked along with STT the other day. Now, wow, that's a bullish. That's gapping over this red bar now. All right, so that is a bullish gap. I'm going to put that on my other computer. That is a definite, put spread idea if it holds, some day trade if it holds. Ally Bank flat, no pattern, so I'm going to delete you. FHN, breakout pattern, maybe 30-minute high. Sabish bottoming pattern, put spread idea. CCJ, closing breakout, daily, weekly, monthly. That looks good. Let's say that's I like is a new pattern. It's a closing breakout, and that is not far from the 20. In fact, quite contrary, the 20 is flat. So that's telling me that the last 20 days has been consolidated, which you can see with the down movements. So the down and up, the net sum of those, it's flat with a rising 50. So that's a nice pattern right there. I'm going to put that on my other computer. And I got alarms going off. Keys here was a long walk from yesterday at 1, 2, 3. Let's see if it can hold, but that looks great. I'll put that in a window. Amgen alarm. We have a open put spread on Amgen. Nice open gain now. Wow, it's still kind of spreading.